So, Rosalind and Kestrel, you guys find yourself standing in the marketplace. Well, I guess not the marketplace. The Baker Street.
Mm-hmm.
Baker Street in tea time.
What used to be tea time?
What used to be tea time. What used to be the quaint cafe of tea time. In what is now a grisly scene of murder. And
Slaughter, murder.
Murder, slaughter. What's the cyberpunk thing? Kill, death, murder, death, kill. Yeah, and whatever. Point is, some bad's happened. Okay, and you guys are basically the only ones there at this point. Everyone else is scattered. The tray with all the spilt tea and broken things is all on the ground from when the waitress was coming out and saw how my roof fucking going up into a bunch of flames. She bolted. You hear like cries and screaming, and people are yelling for guards. And unless you guys do something in this moment, you can already hear the clanking of footsteps as guards are approaching.
Gonna give a panicked look at Rosalind and be like, what are we going to do?
We're going to tell them exactly what happened. We have to.
And I look at my shackles and I look at Rosalind and I'm like, but what if they recognize me?
I don't know if the guards here are going to recognize who you are, but I'll tell you what. You stay behind me, let me do the talking, and we'll just get a sense of where we're at on this. Because the truth is, we haven't done anything wrong. You have not done anything wrong.
Okay. I'll be quiet. You talk. And I just kind of sidle up and behind you a little bit.
Okay. It does not take long for a bunch of guards. They don't all arrive immediately at once. Usually in pairs as they kind of roll up. But they come around the different corners, down the streets, and immediately as soon as they're there, they see what happens, and a lot of them kind of like, some of them pull swords, some of them are like trying to like put their hands out to be to like calm you guys down, or like what is happening, until they kind of realize that like neither one of you are presenting weapons. There's a lot of kind of confusion, and one of the guards approaches, I suppose you, Rosalind, since you're kind of taking the lead, and is like, what happened here? We heard there was a fight.
I wouldn't so much call it a fight as I would a slaughter. One of our traveling companions seemingly lost control of herself. It looked like someone else was in control of her body. It was so out of character, but she massacred these two poor people that we were having brunch with and then teleported away like it was nothing.
And he hears you. He clearly is listening, but he just sort of keeps looking at everything and looking back at you, and is like, I'm gonna need the two of you to just stay here. We need to, and like he kind of takes control. He goes, you two, secure the keep everyone away. You two. He starts handing out orders, and they basically set up a small perimeter, roughly based on where you can see like what as the kind of icy tornado and blood had sort of dissipated, it's all sort of started to melt now, and there's essentially in the kind of a grisly way, there's a whole section of Baker Street now around tea time that is just sort of red. It's sort of stained red. It's almost though there had been like a rain of blood in that area as everything sort of settled and then started to melt. And as he kind of has the guards set up a perimeter around it, and they don't let you guys like leave, but they do have you guys step out of the kind of perimeter that they're setting up around everything. They don't want you guys touching anything else. So assuming you guys don't protest.
No, if they lead us off to the side somewhere, I would get to a point where there's some kind of seat and motion to Kestrel to take it and pull the shawl out again. Now she's got her own clothing. She doesn't need that anymore, but just cover her with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like
go
kind of
on,
around her
Yeah,
shoulders,
essentially.
or
Not like
okay,
trying to hide
yeah,
it,
okay.
just like like what they do for Bruce Wayne after his parents get killed. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Yes.
pull it around my shoulders, you know.
Yeah. This is this is your moment. You're gonna become Batman later.
Right.
I'll be-
Yeah.
I really don't want that for
Wow,
what it's
cool.
worth.
Okay.
Were they her parents? Wow.
Reveal.
No.
Unexpected.
Oh, Rosalind's Commissioner Gordon too. Yeah.
Neighborhood's gone full villain Joker arc.
They don't have any kind of protest with you kind of sitting down and everything. You guys appear to be cooperating. But they do station 2 guards next to you. And the guy that had kind of taken control, he just asks for you guys to wait. And he kind of goes about trying to kind of hand out more orders. As much as they've set up a perimeter, Baker Street still functions. People are still coming and going, and there'll be people coming and going, and every now and then one of them walks by and is like, what's going on? What's going on? I have business through here. And then, the guards will be like, no, simmer down. Like, we have a situation, and there's all kinds of kind of chaos going on. And so, it's always like, oh, who's in charge here? And then, he has to step up and whatnot. And time just sort of, it seems to flow rather slowly for you guys, of which this is a very intense scenario. But not too long after this happens, another group of guards show up. And alongside this one is a anchorite wearing black armor that you guys would sort of recognize as being very similar to a lot of the stuff that the inquisitorial anchorites were wearing. And this one, he kind of approaches, kind of looks around the scene at tea time. And you can see that he's certainly piecing a lot of things together. He's taking in what's the blood that sits on the floor, what's left of some of the bodies, and at this point he finally approaches you two, and he kind of stands at attention and says, "I understand that the two of you are the ones that saw this happen. You were witnesses. Your companion was involved."
That's right.
And he goes, "I'm Detective Almond." I'll also say his name like Sean
Almond.
did. I like it better. Yeah, Detective Almond. I'm Detective Almond. I believe I met with some of your companions earlier today. In fact, I must admit, I had not anticipated bumping into some of you so soon. Why don't you tell me what happened here today? And I must insist it is within your best interest to be as transparent with me as possible. The more you tell me, the better your odds of leaving here not in chains.
Oh, after the events of the last few hours, believe me, I won't be holding anything back. Well, let's start from the beginning. Myru was
And as
off.
you do, I will say, he actually kind of motions for the 2 guards that are next to you guys to actually step away. And they kind of give him a quizzical look, but as you begin speaking, they step back and leave. And now it is just you two and him, at least in the immediate area.
All right, Kestrel, we can take it. No, I'm just kidding. Now's our chance. Let's go back to last night. Our companion Myru went to see a show at the nearby theater, was quite taken with some of the patrons she had met, and apparently they offered to meet her for brunch this morning. Didn't really want her going by herself, so I asked if I could come along. Kestrel here was also excited, offered to come with us. I don't know if this was the best first impression of brunch or anything, really, but everything seemed fine for the first, hour. Conversation, good food. I couldn't really tell that anything was amiss. And then within seconds, something flipped inside of our companion. Something changed, but it wasn't even like gradual. It was like a switch flipped. And before any of us could even react, she had taken one of the knives off the table and slit that poor woman's throat side to side. She kind of gestures with her head over at the table at tea time where they've been sitting. And even then, as we tried to stop her, she was too quick. Her magic... I guess I can only hope that the other gentleman didn't suffer, because he seemed to be turned to ice instantly. I felt like we were maybe getting close to subduing her, to being able to try and figure out what the hell had happened, to see if knocking her out could give us some kind of clue as to what the hell happened. But before we had the chance, she used some other magic that we were not aware of and teleported from the scene. So in an instant, she had killed 2 people, and then within a couple of moments after that, she was gone.
He seems to hear you all the way, and there's certainly a level of separation between like your ability to kind of read his like emotive state, given that he is an anchorite and so much of him is sort of within the suit. But there is a level of I don't know, discernment as you speak. But once you finish up, he presses you a bit more. Your friend, Myru, you said. Tell me about her.
I can't say I know her all that well. We had been traveling for a few days, had some conversations about similar family situations. Felt like we were making inroads on friendship, perhaps, but it had also been a short period of time. So I don't have a whole lot of information about her background, or where she came from, or what might have been lingering under the surface that led to this. I don't think that was her. But then again, some of the things she talked about when she was in this seemingly possessed state sounded like they could have been. So I don't know if it something tapped into her inner goals and desires, or if it was just some kind of malevolence that had to happen to find a vessel nearby to do its bidding. Or maybe that was her all along and I didn't even know jack shit about her. But something changed from an hour ago, the girl I thought I knew, to whatever the fuck that was.
And he nods and he goes, This friend of yours, she a human like you, Keslavian, where's she from?
And I'm sure she's told me the name of the village, but I don't remember. Because that was like 3 months ago.
It was like Emiru or something like that. Hold on. I will look.
But yeah.
It's on the map, you see.
She would at least be like, yeah, she was a Kitsune, she's from one of the islands off on the east.
Yeah,
like,
it's Emiru.
Okay, yeah. At least in those terms, can explain that much to him.
Okay. And he seems to nod. He kind of looks back to everything, like at the back of the cafe, and back to you guys, and he goes, I thought as much. Your friend, she, priestess? Maybe, cleric? Chosen of some kind? Connected with the gods?
You mentioned something of the sort, yes.
He nods, and he goes, well, I appreciate your honesty in this matter. I, am aware somewhat of your... And he kind of looks behind you, towards Kestrel. He goes, your situation here. I am somewhat familiar. I've been briefed. Suffice to say that there are those above myself that have anticipated events such as this one here today, and have deemed the two of you subjects of interest in the investigation going forward. I spoke to some of your other associates this morning. A white tiger folk, I believe, and the good doctor, I'm sure you're familiar with.
Yes.
Yes. What's going to happen here is the two of you are going to walk away. We're going to handle the situation as best we can on our end. You are going to carry on. I'm not asking you to carry on as though nothing happened. I assure you something has. In fact, I would appreciate it if you would carry on as though something has happened. My understanding from those above me is that they are interested in what you are going to do. I cannot say that I understand why this is the case. I cannot say that I agree with it, but I am a man of my duty, and my duty is to the city, and to ensure that peace is kept and that you are not hindered currently. That being said, I would encourage you to not overstay your welcome or cause any more trouble than necessary. If you have things that you are looking into, business to attend to, please do so. I have suggested to your friends that there are places they could look into. I would appreciate it if they did, as I have to remain here. That said, you are free to go, and I appreciate your honesty in this matter. I would encourage you, as someone looking into this and someone who cares about the safety and security of this great empire, and hopefully you do as well, I would encourage you to take care with dealing with those of the religious variety going forward. Keep a weary eye on that friend of yours. Albus, I believe was his name. My understanding is he once had some sort of dealings with people who may have had a similar inclination. I think you're lucky that he has chosen to stray away from that path. Your friend, Myru, he looks back at the mess again, left all over, and he goes, I fear she may be not as lucky. That said, let's hope we don't see each other again. Good day.
Excuse me, sir.
And he goes to walk away, but he stops.
No, come back!
He stops, and he turns and he goes,
What did you mean? You looked at me and you said you were aware of our situation. What did that mean?
And he's got a bit of a raised eyebrow because there's a certain level of subterfuge that you're not engaging with here. But that's fine, because he's just like, what I mean, little lady, if that's what you truly are, is that I'm aware of where you come from. The people above me are as well. They have deemed you not a risk. An assessment I may not agree with. However, it is not my place to question it. So tread lightly.
Okay. Yeah.
I know where you come from.
Sounds good.
If you know what I mean. No,
Yeah.
wait, no, actually I don't.
I think I do. I'm not sure.
Like you guys come from the prison. Like that's what I'm saying.
He knows. Okay, all right, okay.
And he then says, that will be all. And then he walks away.
Also, to be clear, the assessment was that we're not a risk, and 2 people have been murdered now. So, maybe bad call on the Inquisition.
Which isn't even the first part of the body count.
Well, I'm not a risk.
Yeah.
You know? You know?
Not yet.
me.
Whoa, hold on.
So if,
Okay.
as he leaves, I'm assuming the other 2 guards don't return. We're sort of left to our devices.
They do not. He actually, as they kind of go to step back in, he kind of puts a hand out and kind of like motions for them to come over. He speaks to them real quick, and then they disperse. Yeah.
I'm going to help Kestrel up,
Okay.
and I'll say,
Thank you.
we need to go now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I'm gonna follow you. So.
and I'm going to head to the direction of the hotel, assuming that we had talked about meeting up at our rooms after the stuff with the brunch in the library
It
was
was
all done.
Gunnell's house, right?
Yeah.
I think that was mentioned at one point. If not, we have no way to contact him, so, that's the best I got, but...
Yeah, I think it was.
We were going to go from the house to to New Castle.
Right, we were going to regroup, and then the plan was to go to Little Kessloff, although that may be on hold. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, we're going to hurriedly make our way back there, and I think For Roz in particular, some of that is trying to make sure that Kestrel is as far away from that as possible, and some of that is keeping direction for the sake of keeping the legs moving and not stopping to think about what the fuck that was.
Okay.
Why don't we just... I was going to say it's probably about 10:30. Why don't we just say it's noon? Because I think we said we were going to meet at noon at the house.
By the time they got through sorting through the scene and questioning and stuff, and then we
Yeah.
walk back, it's probably not unreasonable to be around
Yeah,
there.
it's yeah. I mean, I would even like if you guys were chit-chatting for an hour, and then like the fight breaks out, then everything shows up, and then eventually Almond shows up, and then like, and you got to walk back, and I don't know. That's probably like 11:30, something like that.
Yeah.
Like, you guys might bump into each other on the way back, but we can skip that. You know.
Hey guys!
Hey guys, what's up?
Yeah.
Well,
Did we
Where's
find
Myro?
what we were looking for in the House of Knowledge? By the way,
Yeah. So you guys were. Remind me what you were looking for again.
We
You were trying
were-
to finish looking for.
Reviewing
Uh,
stuff
inf-
for Marie's husband.
Correct. You were looking to see if there was any information that would have pointed towards him being
Here.
in this. Like you were looking through the city records, correct?
Yeah.
Right. Well, so
we didn't meet the clock, so I didn't know if that means no, we didn't find it.
you can. Let's put it this way. You have found no official records detailing his presence within the city. Let's put it that way.
Cool.
Yeah. Which means that if there was anything, it was not public.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes... Yeah. I mean, in theory, you are looking through public records, so your information is limited. Other than, you know... I will say that there is... I mean, you're particularly sharp, and you probably are, of any of the people here, probably the most inclined to maybe pick up on this. But there was a noticeable, you caught a couple of articles. In fact, to call them articles may not even be correct. If you were flipping through like a lot of the like newspapers and other types of things around kind of the time period that you were looking for, you would notice an uptick on like Keslavian enhancements, like in like kind of technology that were being advertised at around that time period. And specifically, there was more growth happening in Little Keslav at around that time. Whether or not that is connected, that's hard to say, but there is a distinct growth in that in the time period that you're looking at. They could be connected, they could not be. But it is maybe noticeable to you just because you know of your... I guess he's still your husband. Your husband's his inclination towards all kinds of necrotech and all that kind of stuff. So that's about as close as you get to finding anything related to him in that time frame.
Cool.
So
Thank you.
so at about the time, unless there's anything else you guys wanted to try to accomplish while at the House of Knowledge.
I mean,
You know,
if
you
there
guys are just
was,
having a good old
not
time.
now. I want to get back with the group.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys all make your way back, some of you with more urgency than others, and you guys all meet up at Eloise's Tinctures and Scotty's Trinkets.
There's a conversation I
You
want to
love it.
have with Gunolf, but like pacing wise, I don't care right now. But
Yeah.
maybe we can revisit it later. So,
You're gonna pitch new names.
Hey, Gunoff, how about this name for the... Oh, God!
yeah.
Yeah. As we head inside, I'd like to sort of tap Rosalind on the shoulder and stuff like, and ask her like, "Are you okay?"
I will be.
Okay. Okay.
It's nice of you to ask.
And I'm ready to head in.
I think I'm more angry than anything else. And I'm also worried. And some of that we can at least address when the rest of our companions come back. And some of that I'm not so sure.
Well, there is. I mean, it's not. You guys don't arrive at the exact same time, but not long after you guys arrive at the ET and ST, the rest of the party shows up. So you guys all arrive. Yeah. Kizip's probably there too, and he's like, "Oh, how's it going?" And you guys.
He is thoroughly entertaining Kyrie. It's like,
but certainly. I imagine he detects that there's a bit of a change in mood.
Absolutely, he's like, well, between those two, I don't know if we're already waiting.
Wait, so that's my question: are we there yet or no?
I think Rosalind and Kestrel would beat you guys.
Oh, okay. So
Okay.
we're not there yet.
Yeah.
So yes, by the time we would get there, he'd be thoroughly entertaining Kyrie, distracting her from being curious about what's going on with the other two while they go upstairs.
Okay.
Straight upstairs.
To get the blood off.
So do we arrive?
You guys arrive.
So do
yes.
we?
Not yet, John.
Are they? I don't know. Are they white as are they pale? Are they as a blood drain from their faces? Are they obviously upset? Maybe I should
Rosalind had some
rather than
Rosalind had some actual blood drained out of her. I don't know if that counts.
And there's some
also
on my clothing
Myra's
too.
not present, so that's an obvious.
Well, no.
killer.
Well,
yeah, and there's
my inclination would be like, oh, did Myra go in for a round 2 of brunch? Unless they're obviously distressed, and then it would be like, what?
I got blood on me,
Oh,
so
you still have blood on you.
I'm always
Oh,
covered
yeah.
in blood,
Alright.
though. I
So
always
do
have
I.
blood on me, actually.
What's
It was a fountain of blood coming out of her neck.
what's going on? Where's Myra? What happened? Did you not make it to brunch?
Oh, we made it to brunch. And brunch was going great. And then Myra decided maybe it was time to slit a poor woman's neck ear to ear and turn a man into a statue and disappear like it was nothing.
Myru? Like our Myru?
It was not Myru.
Who
It
was
was
it?
Curiosity. It was Curiosity. I saw it. I tell you earlier. You remember? I tell you. And it was there. With her.
Curiosity took the form of Where's the real Myru?
It was in her, but Myra was not there. But it was in her.
It took her over.
And yes.
It seemed like
yes.
it happened fast. A minute or two from start to finish, after an hour plus of conversation and perfectly normal happenings. And then all of a sudden, maybe my guard was down, maybe I couldn't have done anything anyways, but she grabbed a knife off the table and she cut a woman from ear to ear.
Did something trigger it? What were we talked about? Did Tana come up? What was the trigger for this?
I was talking about wooden sculptures and eyeballs and guts and I think art. I don't understand.
I keep playing through the events in my head, trying to make sense of it. What's odd to me is Tana had come up earlier in the conversation. There was a darker nature to the art that they were talking about right before she went off, but I wouldn't have thought anything of it at the time. Even now, I don't know what to make of it. It was not the thing that I would have thought would set her off. I don't know if I thought anything would set her off.
She was the nicest one out of all of us. I can't process what you're saying.
And now she's
I
gone?
didn't feel it this time.
Sorry.
I didn't feel it this time. I felt it with Albus. I did not feel it this time. I don't know what happened.
So if you felt it with Albus and then it happened with Myru, are we being targeted? Why? What? can we do?
I don't know. The anchorite, he, guard man said that, people with religious background, something avoiding them, I think. I don't know what that has to do with curiosity, though. These things don't have anything in common. Not where I am from. It does not make sense to me.
So we did meet another Inquisitor, which is also something we need to talk about. Apparently the same that, and he looks at Albus and Shard, that you two met earlier today. He mentioned that you had talked.
You guys met Albus and Sharp, you guys met an Inquisitor today?
Almond?
Almond.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Oh, and yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
He was the detective. Yeah,
detective. Sorry, thank you. Yeah, when we went to talk to the guards, they kind of just took Albus and I into a back room and interrogated us. But that's crazy. Like Albus, I feel like Albus had a very similar kind of inclination, but he didn't. Nothing happened. So I don't know what is going on.
Albus, you had an inclination. What? This is what we would categorize, Sharp, I think, as information that we share right away.
Sorry, we were really busy at the library. And I mean, we didn't want to alarm anybody. It didn't seem like a big deal. And Albus met someone. I don't know I don't recall exactly who. Do you remember who was it, Albus?
Kasim.
Who did you meet, Albus?
Kasim.
What? Let's back up. Let's back up a little bit. I don't know, Gunnoff, did you meet an Inquisitor get in the wagon too?
No, it was entirely uneventful, and this is the first time I'm hearing of a curiosity. I have no idea what's happening.
Let's just back up for a second. Marie and Albus, you mentioned when you talked to guards. I don't think I'm aware of even that. So what happened when you guys went?
Well, okay, so we went to the City Watch, right? Like we had planned.
Okay.
You were aware of that.
Yes.
Don't gaslight me. But it turned in. So I guess on our way to the City Watch, we stopped by the cathedral that has been like under construction or whatever. And we chatted to some guards just about it, but that might have set off like a red flag, because by the time we got to the city guard, they pretty much like put us in a back room and interrogated us without our knowledge.
And then this was Almond.
Yeah.
And Albus, you met one of your tiger folk?
I met a tiger folk.
So you didn't know them
They
before?
were locked. Yeah, I did not know them before. They were locked away in a cage. They didn't really go into detail on why. But I have a suspicion that tiger folk aren't looked very well upon here in this town. A lot of the guards at the cathedral were giving me very suspicious looks.
Why was he detained?
That they didn't explain either, but he looked like he had been in a fight. Both offensive and defensive scars were on his body.
And so, Jason, I think they did go a little bit into...
Did they?
Why at the cathedral, it's closed because a bunch of tiger folk went crazy.
That
Almond,
is...
Explain that.
Almond, so he they didn't have any. Well, I mean, he mentioned nothing of the
Oh,
cathedral, but that there had been a bunch of tiger folk that had essentially started violence.
Yes.
And the one that they were able to detain was Kasim.
Okay.
Yeah.
There were incidents regarding tiger folk.
And then
Correct.
Kestrel, with us today, mentioned something happened to you, Albus.
Yeah, Albus, did you feel something earlier when you were there? Something strange?
You mean when I was
Like there
talking
was-
to Kasim?
Yeah,
How did you know that?
I felt it, and I kind of look sheepish. I remember outside the shop when Gunnulf asked me to make you stronger. Well, I did, and I remember I gave you my blood to do that. Well, I can feel anyone who has it. My blood, that is. I could feel what happened to you.
You could feel what I felt?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can. If I searched my feelings now, maybe I could too. It would take focus.
And
I am sorry I did not tell you.
Gunnulf's gonna look at his hand.
and what was felt?
Oh, regarding me?
Yeah.
It's hard to explain. It was a sense of immense rage, battle lust. Something came over me for a moment. It was stifled, but it was intense.
Did it make you want to do bad things?
Begrudgingly, yeah.
Okay.
So
Is that like what Myru went through?
I didn't. I don't know. I was eating cake. And
You were distracted by the cake.
I was distracted. I didn't notice this time. There was so much going on, and maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention.
Well,
But
you also
she-
weren't not. You don't have to blame yourself, Kestrel. Like, you know. Yeah.
But what if I had felt something sooner? Maybe I could have helped her. She got violent too. She wanted to hurt people, and I saw curiosity there, and I felt it with you, Albus.
have you felt it with anyone else, Kestrel? And has anyone else felt anything weird? Well, we
No.
gotta be honest. Let's get it all on the table.
Have you, Steve?
Not that I would characterize as anything abnormal. When we fought those bugs, I wanted to kill them, but it was no intense battle lust. Just felt like we did what we had to do. It sounds like I would know if it
Yeah.
was something abnormal.
You
It sounds
would
like
know.
you were aware.
You would know the feeling.
Roz, anything
I
weird
would
over from you?
Not a thing.
I
Gunnulf?
haven't felt anything.
Nothing besides just the baseline, just stuff that I want to know. It's just I haven't felt anything, so I imagine curiosity is not a word that is used lightly. I like I said, this is the first time I'm hearing of it. There's a lot of things that I'm not aware of.
Should I explain?
Yeah, Kestrel, if we have drawn the ire of some deity, What can we do? What's the best course of action?
Back where I am from, in the Ashen Cordon, the instincts are contained. Curiosity is just one of 4, but it is the most, what's the right word? Smart, I guess. It is the most deceptive, intelligent. The others, hunger, anger, and fear, are, for the most part, controlled. My people have mastered them. They are one with us and we are with them, but curiosity stands apart. And she thinks to herself, oh, and the books. She took the books from the library, the ones that described the inside of the cordon and her learning ones, and the 30 other ones were in the cart with you guys. I actually have the ones, so I take them. I don't know where I kept them, in my ass, I guess. And I start spreading them out, and I take the picture book and the one with the words, and I don't know where to flip with the one with the words because I don't know how to read. But I flip the picture book to the one that Eric showed me, or is it Eric or Aaron?
Eric.
It's Eric. Okay.
Eric. Yeah.
Okay, Eric. And I flip it to the page where you can see like the flesh curse creatures like roaming about and getting gunned down by like anchorite soldiers, and like fire being bombed down from the sky or something like that. One of those pictures. And I point at one of like the flesh creatures on the image and I say, this being is taken over by curiosity. It lives everywhere inside the cordon. This is what it is. But I've never seen it look like it did with Myru. It usually transforms the body, takes you over not just in mind but in your flesh, and changes you. I think your word for this is the flesh curse. It is not what my people call it, and it is not the most accurate, but it is what I think your people call it. And she sort of flips through the pages, trying to find like the Wonderlust woods, and she finds like maybe like an image of it sort of like before or like during like when the Akashic station fell. And she's like, this is where the star fell, and it changed the woods. It infected everything, and it should be contained with us, but now it's out here. And I don't know how to fight it because my people just killed anything that was controlled by curiosity. Anything. That was what my brother Wolf did. He was our greatest hunter. He devoured them all. I don't know what else we're supposed to do.
Well, let's think about it for a second. If it could infect any of us at any time, it has no reason not to, right? There is some reason we have been unaffected. If it is going for piousness is related to susceptibility for the curse, maybe that's why. Albus, you had a history with religious dealings with your clan, and Myru did as well. Could that have meant they're more open to this sort of infection of the mind?
Is the difference that Albus is no longer practicing?
That's what I'm wondering.
Because he had separated himself from the clan? Kestrel, was there ever any examples in your village of a time when someone resisted the effects of curiosity? Is this something unusual that has happened today?
We can resist the effects of curiosity. The blood of the heartwood protects us. It is a complicated thing, but the tree and our grove and our blood grants us resistance and some immunity. But there is obviously other things at play. You do not want to indulge in curiosity too much, or else you might be taken anyway. You can resist something if you do not indulge in it, yes, but if you give yourself to it, then you have given yourself away.
Is there any like concern like that Albus has already started showing signs or like has felt it? Like, is there like, have you seen, I don't know, like, is there already that door like
Having
almost
symptoms
cracked
is
open?
like
Yeah.
We're gonna have to put
a
him down.
stage.
Oh, I would hope not.
Take him out
You'll
back.
never catch me alive.
Yeah. There's
out the
another
door.
there's another white tiger folk out there somewhere. I'll just but does that like beg, or is that inviting, like I don't know what I'm trying to say, but does that make sense?
I'm gonna hold out my hand to Albus and kind of like, like, can I see? It is easier when I have contact.
Albus is gonna hold out his paw.
Okay.
Well.
And I kind of grab your hand and I try to sort of like feel into that bond. Jason, do you want me to do like a ritual, or do you want to do, or you just want to let me role play this?
Let's see how successful you are. Do an insight willpower.
Okay. Let's see. Insight willpower. No whammies, no whammies. I'm gonna interrogate you.
Pistol breaks my
Jesus
wrist.
H. Christ.
It's not a 1.
Man, this
It's
roller
not a 1.
hates you guys.
This roller hates me.
A
Do
3
we
and
have
a
any
2.
physical dice? Let's.
Yeah, can I use physical dice? I hate this thing.
If you would like to roll 2 physical dice, I'll allow it. I'm
Oh
not
my
against
God.
Physical dice.
Kestrel
It's
reaches
a
out to
D10
grab
and
my
a
paw,
D8.
but
Oh,
he
why
misses
did you
somehow.
ask then?
Because I was excited. It's outside. I can just get it like 2 seconds.
Okay, you've
we
got
can
2
we can take it
seconds.
while you do it.
Alright.
One Mississippi.
Waiting for her cat to come running in and take her seat. You know what I mean?
Sean, I do have ideas,
Okay.
just in case.
Okay.
Ooh, nice.
Oh yeah, she would make it.
Okay.
2 Mississippi. You made
I'm
it.
gonna mute myself. It's gonna be really loud.
Mhm.
It was last time, yeah.
Did she do like abacus or is? Thinking so.
She can't count.
I'm stupid. Help me. I can't count. So that is a
So it's a D10 and a D8.
that's a D10 right there. That is a D8 right there.
Uh-huh.
Shove all the rest of them aside. All right, I rolled a 7 and a 1, so that's an 8.
Okay.
He
Okay.
still
Stupid
rolled
roller.
a 1.
That was a
It's still
lot.
better. It's still better.
Rolled a 1.
I did
Yeah.
roll a 1.
See, I don't think it's roll 20
So,
that's trying to screw you
No,
here.
I hate roll 20, and I'm never using it again.
Does Kestrel just
Anyway.
rip off one of my fingers, or
No!
No, there is, and I will sort of let her describe some of this here, but there is a brief moment as she sort of closes her eyes where you can feel a sort of like a connection or a bond between the two of you. And for the briefest of moments, you almost feel as though like it's like you hear what at first sounds to your ears, like say the creaking of trees and like the wind flowing through the leaves, almost as though you're sort of in a forest, so to speak. And as you sort of look around, it's almost like for a brief moment, it's just you and her standing in a forest. Only the forest is not made of wood and grass and leaves, but it is a forest of flesh and bone and blood, and the trees are made of like bits of bone that sort of sit like bark. There are leaves of flesh, and there are thorns shaped like teeth. There are root systems that sort of thrum like veins, and the ground and the air seems to sort of have this ash sort of drifting from some canopy far above you that you cannot see. You can't make out how tall this place is. But as you look down at your feet, and Kestrel sort of standing next to you in this almost trance-like state between the two of you, you can see that like your own weight sinking into the ash that covers the floor almost sort of brings up blood from the ground, as though instead of mud, it's the moisture there bleeds into the ash itself. So it's this sort of white and gray and red landscape sort of stretched between the two of you. And in that moment between the two of you, it feels long, but it's gone in an instant almost, the connection between the two of you. But I guess I'll let her describe any other aspect of
So this
that.
is only from Kestrel's perspective. I don't see any of this.
No, you see all.
Oh, I do
Yeah.
see
You
it.
see all this. You are
see
in
all
this
of it.
sort of semi psychic plane with
Cool.
me.
Yes.
I mean, as far as the environment is concerned, I see that, and I mean, can he feel me in any capacity? I'm just curious because
Yes,
I know I can feel him.
Yeah, I would actually say it goes a bit of both ways, Albus. You can feel, it's almost like you can feel like there's like a bit of the heartbeat between the two of you almost seems to sync, as like it's almost like you're breathing and everything. You can feel that there is a connection between the two of you, and to some degree you can sort of feel her own emotions, her own worry, her own concern, and she can feel yours. So I suppose the two of you can kind of describe your emotional state to one another, and this is like the sort of true emotional state, like where you're at in your head. It's not super deep. It's kind of still surface level. It's certainly, I'm not gonna say vibes, but it's a sense of physical anxiety. There's a lot of that sort of physicality of where your mind is. That's what is shared between the two of you in this sort of state. Yeah.
I have a quick
Yeah, I can't
lore
read your
question.
mind, but I can feel you. What?
Yeah.
Is the flesh curse thing like very prominently known? Like, would I have seen something like this before? Or is this my first time ever seeing it?
Well,
I mean, you are certainly aware that the flesh curse exists. You have never seen an environment like this before in your life. I would say. Yeah.
Got it.
A lot of
I grip his paws in this moment that stretches on forever, and I say, "Don't be afraid. This is my home." And
What?
But you can feel that she is calm and not lying to
Okay.
you. That when she says not to be afraid, like it is not an attempt at deception. You can feel that between the two of you. She cannot lie to you, and you can't really lie to her.
I mean, she can
in this
definitely
kind of
sense that
moment.
I am tense and my heart is racing, and I'm scared.
and I am concerned, but I'm also calm, and I am attempting to reassure him. And I'm trying to search his feelings right now. He could probably feel me probing a little bit to see if he has any signs of curiosity inside of him. And I would be able to recognize that, right?
As far as like if there were
Like overt signs of curiosity.
and I would say that outside of the sort of I guess the answer is no.
Okay.
Like whether or not you can feel any residuals from what happened earlier in the day, I feel like that's a really tough call. That's a level of probing that might take time.
But there's
in
nothing
this-
present now.
Nope, not at all.
Okay. There you go. And the moment ends.
Do you relay that to us?
We like come out of it like
And I say, yeah.
all exhausted. And, like,
No, you're fine. You're fine. And I
I'm
just
like
kind
trying
of,
to grab
It
onto
almost
something
feels-
as I'm getting out of it.
No, it almost feels dreamlike.
Okay.
Sort of like a half memory. You know what I'm saying? Like it was there, but now it's not, and clearly it wasn't real. But it did feel real in that
Okay.
moment. It's very dreamlike in that quality.
Kestrel, thanks for
Yeah, I-
checking. And look, the worst thing we can do is start to do a witch hunt. We just got to trust each other. If anything weird happens, we just need to be honest. I guess.
But
Go ahead, Kestrel.
I can't feel all of you. You know that. I only have a bond with Albus and you. I had one with Myru, but she is not here anymore. And I tried with Gunnolf. I tried to heal his hand that is it's the sick one, but I did not try with his healthy flesh.
Well, that's okay.
So
No offense, Kestrel, but you had a bond with Myru, and it wasn't enough. So it's not as though it's foolproof, right?
no.
So we can't.
But it's something.
Yeah, certainly. So I have two questions. The first is, what can we do for Myru? Can we save her? Can we even find her if we wanted to now?
Can I feel Myru still, or is it because she's no longer within my domain that I can't?
So it is not impossible for you to attempt to find her.
Okay.
But the answer to your question is effectively like yes and yes. But she has, in many ways, sort of left your domain, which means that if you attempted to reach her, you would have to in some way extend yourself beyond your domain, which may be a dangerous thing to do. Yeah.
Okay. Would I be aware of that, or is this just player knowledge?
I would say that you are aware. You would have to leave the sort of security of that sort of mental safe space to go looking for her beyond that point. Because at a cursory sort of like searching your feelings, you don't feel her, but it's almost like a trail that you could follow in a sort of metaphorical woods, so to speak. You could attempt to track her down, but that would require you leaving sort of the security of the place that you know. And there's not necessarily any guarantee that what you go looking for is what you're hoping to find, and that it can't follow you, back or what have you. So.
Okay. So I'm gonna basically tell them I could find her, but it would not be safe for me. She's not within my space anymore. She's within Curiosity's. She doesn't exist within. She's not my, thing. Any way that I feel that's a weird thing to say.
It makes me sad to ask this, but based on curiosity, is there even a point to searching for her right now?
I don't know.
That was a question
But-
I had. In the sense that, isn't searching for someone like Myru, who I would certainly like to help, isn't that sort of curiosity in itself? How much of this is cyclical?
My brother hunted Curiosity all throughout the Grove. It was his sworn duty, and if I were to be as he did, then I would hunt her down too.
Well, Roz, you bring me to my second question, and we're thinking along the same lines. But Kestrel, you said that the Heartwood, right? Heartwood
The Heartwood.
provides resistance and protection. Would that
Yes.
protection extend to us? Because we're not exactly in a position, unless we give up now, to turn off seeking this knowledge. And if we can do something that could lend that resistance to us as well, I think that would be our number one priority at this point.
I think it is worth a try. You are not anointed to the tree like I am. I had engaged in ritual, and I am bound to my grove. I can extend to you some benefits. I can extend to you healing, and I can feel you, and maybe even when curiosity is there and I can recognize it, I can help you fight it. But I don't know yet if that is true. It won't hurt you, though, so there's no harm in trying.
Gunnelf's gonna stand up and walk over to you and sit down in front of you, and he's gonna offer you his good hand.
Okay.
He's gonna be like, you can't blame yourself for what happened. You can only do better the next time. And if this helps us all, then here's my hand.
Okay. And I say thank you. And I will do better this time. And I sort of bite my hand on my little palm there, and I grasp his good hand, and I let the blood flow into his good hand. And Jason, do I feel him?
You do. In fact, if you'd like to make a similar check, like what you did with Albus.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
sure.
gonna be a
Let's
5.
do it.
Let's save time.
No! I'm gonna roll my physical dice if that doesn't bother anybody.
No,
I don't
great.
care. Go for it.
Okay. All right. 4 and an 8.
Nice.
Okay.
There
Okay.
you go.
All right, that's 12. Let's go.
Okay. I mean, for the sake of brevity, I can say that Gonolf and Kestrel, you find yourself in that brief moment very similar to what Albus and Kestrel had. You find yourself in woods. Your positions are basically mirror where they are in the room, only there is this sort of psychic space that you were sort of in. And you can feel each other's vibes as you do.
You said that you were able to, feel Peter's base like fear, right?
Yeah, I could feel what he was feeling on the surface. I can't read his mind or go delve deeper, but yeah.
On Gunelf, it is sadness.
Oh. Sorry. And I sort of hold his hand and I grip him tighter and I say, "We'll be okay. Do you feel that?" And I ask him if he can feel me. Can you feel my heart? And what you can feel, if you can, is an overwhelming reassurance and warmth. And I am sad too, but I am deeply upset actually about what happened, but I am trying to press upon you this reassurance and warmth in this interaction. I want you to feel safe here.
Yeah, can we hug in this
Sure.
mind space?
Why
Yeah.
not?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so nice.
Okay, you do,
Okay.
and you probably do in real life as well.
Okay.
But I will say, as you pull away, you both, I would say, notice that the sick hand of Gunnels in real life, in this psychic space, it is no mere normal hand. It is shriveled, it is desiccated, near mummified, and almost entirely dead. It is I wouldn't say it's rotten, but there is no life to be found within that hand in this space. As you move it, Gunnolf, it moves, but it is not healthy or in any way fine. So,
And I'm like, Gunnolf, your hand. And I don't know, I'm just gonna overimpose. I'm just gonna like peel off the glove on his hand to see what it looks like underneath, because I had no idea it looked like that. What I see in the dream space is different.
Okay, so is this the dream space or is this real
We're
life?
coming out of
Well,
it.
peeling
out of
off the
dream
glove
space.
in
You-
real life is what she's trying to do.
Yes.
You're gonna find that as you peel off the glove, he is marked out several places in like a marker, or like a little bit of shave skin, and in a marker of where he has been tracking his disease and where he can no longer feel.
Does it look desiccated, or does it look like a normal hand that he just feels numb to?
In real life, looks like a
Yeah.
completely normal flesh and blood, healthy hand.
Gunnulf, you're very sick.
Yes, I know. We're gonna fix it. It's gonna get better.
Okay. And I just kind of button up his glove for him. But I just kind of say, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I mean, I knew I had depression, but
The hand has depression.
yeah. But the bond is forged.
So I just want to say, Kestrel, I think this is a good step. I think we should all do this. Any sort of protection we can get, I think, is great. Is this just putting a Band-Aid on, though? And I return to my previous point of, is it worth a journey to the Heartwood to get full protection? Or...
You would not be allowed in.
Okay.
I am sorry. The druids, they're not all like me. And we do not take well to outsiders. And you would need to anoint yourself to the tree and take upon yourself a kin spirit, and there is no guarantee the tree would welcome you. I do not think we can do it, but I will do my best to protect you.
And we would have to get through the quarantine to even try.
Yes.
So there's 2 layers working against us, not just one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Steve is right, and as Roz speaks up for the first time in a bit, you can see she's like, without even really thinking about it, like rubbing one of the blood spots on her outfit, just absent-mindedly. But she says, I think Steve is right. I think we have to stick together now more than ever. But Albus, I have to be honest with you. You kind of scare the shit out of me right now. And I don't think I'm worried about you just right here, right now. But I'm not so sure I'm sold on the idea of taking you back to the village where every other one of your kind went berserk. If you've already experienced the touch of whatever the fuck force this is, I'm not so sure I'm sold on going back up there now.
I understand your hesitation, and I feel the same way. All I can really tell you is I have the ability or the focus to repress my feelings like I did before. Can't promise that I can always do it because I don't know. This is a whole new experience for me. But I think with your guys' help, I'm able to do a better job of controlling whatever this is. I feel like if I was alone, it would be worse. I would probably succumb to it.
And if we're ready for it, it might be different. Especially if we're all there together, if Kestrel and her abilities can help. But I will tell you this much. That was a different Myru, not just in mind and spirit, but it took everything the 2 of us had to keep up with her. Again, maybe with all 5 of us knowing what we're walking into, it's a different story, but I'm just saying it this much. We had damn sure better be prepared. Because if we're not, it could cost all of us our lives.
I agree. But we watch each other and make sure we stay ourselves. And that will help, I think.
And I promise to bring up whenever I feel those feelings as well.
Okay.
So that you guys aren't blindsided by a sudden change in my demeanor.
Knowing what I know about the history of the Cordon, is is Miss Marie, is she immune completely to this affliction?
To the flesh curse?
Much curiosity. Yeah.
Good question.
Well, as far as anyone is aware, the flesh curse can't affect anchorites. They have no flesh with which to.
Nice.
So she's immune to curiosity. Maybe.
Well, the hard
Maybe.
part is Michaela did not. I'm sorry. Fucking
Myru.
Myru did not demonstrate typical signs of flesh curse infection. She looked like herself. In fact, she seemed to be transcend in a way, but it was just emotionally, mentally.
Well, it almost seems like that's like the beginning stages of the flesh curse. Like it starts mentally, and then it continues into almost a. That's at least what I got from what Kestro was
Yes.
saying.
Historically, and I will stress historically, because what you guys are experiencing is ahistoric. Historically, people who come into contact, especially prolonged contact with creatures or other things that have been infected by the flesh curse, find the individual parts of their flesh usually turning against them.
Okay.
It is usually a sickness of the body and not even of the soul. In fact, there are a great many, especially humans, elves, dwarfs, humanoids, that when they become infected and they die, a lot of times they are left as nothing but a wandering spirit because their own bodies effectively reject and kill it. It's almost like the body kills itself as it tears itself apart into individual parts. Each part is alive, but the self has been all but killed, and all that's left is their soul. It's almost like they were, they swallowed a grenade and exploded. They're dead. Only in this case, the parts that came apart were alive, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Anchorites not having a body are basically, they have a suit that they wear. It works as a body. But if the suit falls apart, they can just get a new one. What you guys have seen with Myru does not map onto anything that you guys are aware of historically for how the flesh curse works or functions. It has always been, there is the reason that the cordon was made,
Right.
a physical barrier, was to keep physically those elements of the flesh curse contained.
So Sharp, let's not get complacent with assuming you're immune.
Yeah,
Let's
there's
stay
a
on top
mental
of it.
component.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's something that I think we also have to talk about, although it doesn't seem as important compared to whatever metaphysical, world-spanning thing this is. We need to talk about what we want to do with the Inquisitors.
Yeah. Yep.
Because what I'm realizing now as I play through this again in my head, it's been on loop for the last hour, they may have been telling the truth about Tana. Tana also, apparently, that whatever happened, someone at that scene burned a house down and killed the people inside of it. And Myra was insistent. That's not like her. She would never do something like that. That couldn't happen. Well, I just sat 3 feet away from it when it happened to fucking Myru. So maybe the Inquisitors were telling the truth about that after all. It's what they're supposed to deal in. And I'm not saying they're perfect. And Kestrel, I know there's plenty of other reasons not to trust them. I'm not saying we just walk up to them and go, hey, how's it going? But they might have been more forward with their information than we thought of. They brought Myru on the train separate from the rest of us. The 4 of us were together. She was the outlier. So who knows? Maybe they had something else up their sleeve. Or maybe if the sisters had reunited, it would have been awful sooner. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I keep thinking through this, and I keep thinking to myself, well, Myru would never have done that either. Until she fucking did.
Well, and it sounds like they know about us anyway, right? So, which we should have assumed. They are the overwhelming force in this area. Of course they knew where we were.
But why? Let us go free. I was in prison since I was a child, and now I am grown.
Well,
Why let me go now?
Almond may have said something that tipped his hand a little bit when he spoke to you and I, Kestrel, which was he wanted us to continue on our journey. He wants to see what we're going to do. He said that. Those are his words, not mine. So the question is, why? Maybe we can be a force for good in the world. Maybe we're nothing more than another fucking science experiment, except the difference is we're not cooped up in some kind of cell or holding area or whatever they want to put on the blueprints. Maybe we're just guinea pigs in a bigger experiment.
Roz, I would guess it's a little bit of both. We are the experiment to see if, I would imagine, having Kestrel with us, this protection that she offers, if it can actually make a difference. And if not, well, they're down 6 adventurers that were a thorn in their side anyway, so easy come, easy go for them.
Because the piece of this that Roz wants to bring up and can't because she wasn't there and doesn't know this, but could be connected somewhat in like retrospect, is that the Inquisitor didn't know who Albus was. He recognized Sharp. He had to ask who Albus was when they were interrogated this morning.
Yeah.
And if that information was ever brought to her attention, her question would be, why?
Well, and he, to be fair, he said something about, to my knowledge, when he was talking to you, apparently like a tiger folk, and it was like, well, no, you should have known that, except if he wasn't on your radar until just recently. So, yeah.
So I don't think they knew we were here. They will now. If they wouldn't have already from this morning encounter, they sure as hell will know now. So I guess we have to decide what we want to do with that piece of information. If anything, it could just be we carry on because apparently we can wander around doing whatever we want. Hell, one of us can kill somebody and we walk away like nothing happened.
Yeah. Well, I suppose first things first. Kestrel, you've granted me protection before. Is it worth it? Has that already taken effect, or should I? And I start taking off my gloves. Should we make this official, or is it already done?
It is done. I can still feel you. Can try again just to make sure if that would, reassure you. And I hold my hand out.
I'm never one to, better safe than sorry for me, for sure. So I will take
come with
the
me
hand.
to the psychic plane.
I want to visit this bone forest.
No, you don't.
Come to the bone forest.
It's scary.
All right. So
now we get to figure out Steve's natural state.
Yeah, I would say
Steve, your natural state. Let's go.
anger tied into the primary emotion is helplessness. And I would say, how are we supposed to fight something that is an idea, doesn't even seem tangible? What are we supposed to do against that?
Well, first I'll ask Jason, do you want me to roll or do you want me to just let it keep going?
Give me a roll. I like to see how well these do.
Physical dice.
It's a one shot for Steve's mind.
5 and an 8. Let's go.
Nice, y'all.
Let's see that brain.
Okay.
Yeah, the experience is very similar to what we had seen before. It's the woods. Steve, you can see it just as clearly as everyone else has. You guys can feel each other's sort of emotions. There's that kind of connection. On the surface, it doesn't look like there's anything in particularly different with Steve at first. But you do, it's because you rolled so high. The way that he looks in this realm, gosh, how do I best describe this?
The Mr. Burns, I'm immune.
No. It's like
the ghostly figure.
No, not at all.
It's like it's almost like a filter, like a Snapchat filter, or like when you can tweak the saturation, or you just I want to do sepia, or I want to do this or that. There is there's when you look upon Steve here, he looks different. He's the same. and there's nothing physically wrong or different with him, but it's almost like the very nature or shape of his soul is different than that of what you would normally expect to look like, effectively. Like if this was like a show or whatever, Steve would have his style or like his frame rate would be a little bit tweaked or different. He's drawn slightly differently. Yeah.
Your aura is different.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
What about his hand? What's going on with his hand?
His hand's probably fine.
His
Is
hand.
it ghastly?
No. His hand should be fine. He lost his hand through normal means, which means that in the spirit world, it is still there.
Mm-hmm.
What is normal
am I
means?
gripping his? Oh.
As in, it was chopped off.
Ooh, I wonder
That's
what
really
your soul
fucking
looks
normal,
Super
huh?
In this world, it is.
I get what you're saying, Jason.
That sounds so menacing, Maya. I'm sorry.
What I'm saying is, like, yeah, there was
I
no.
want to know what Marie's soul looks like now in the psychic
I want to
plane.
know what your soul
I
is.
really
I'm sorry.
Can
I
you
was
bond
gonna-
with an anchorite?
I was going to suggest you try it, actually.
Well, I would love to find out. Yeah,
but-
I would
yeah,
love to
I was
find
gonna
out.
suggest that, but do you say anything
So,
then
Steve,
about
could you revisit your? I would love to. Hold on, give me your. Repeat your emotions to me real quick.
the helplessness and
Anger.
Helplessness.
and I'd say, like, how are we supposed to fight fucking ethereal, like, thing, an idea, a concept?
Concept.
My people have been trying for a very long time, and we haven't won yet. But maybe through this, we might see some success. I know it is scary, and I know it is unknown, but it's all we can do. And I try to reassure him too. I try to reach out with that warmth and reassurance, and I try to reaffirm that physical bond, the blood bond that I have. And I kind of take note and I twist his hand around and notice that he's sort of like normal on the other one again. And yeah, I think the moment ends.
Okay.
Unless you have anything to say.
Oh, no, that's good.
What'd you think of the woods?
Pretty cool.
That's
Steve,
terrifying.
It was
It's
gross.
my home.
You know, Albus, I gotta
I'd like
be
to hear
honest. I've visited at least one hell dimension before, so it wasn't.
Oh.
You and I need to talk more.
But it was still unsettling for sure. You never really get used to it.
Steve's doing his tier list of hells, and he's like, I mean, it's like an A, like, I mean, high A, you know?
C tier
Oh,
at
it's ass.
best.
This is my home you're talking about. Ooh. And I kind of step back from Steve and I look at Marie and I say, I am curious. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, that's a bad word.
If we can have the bond.
Yeah, I
Do you
am
mind?
too. I would love to try because now that there's like a mental element, I'm a little nervous.
Do you have like?
Did you say that out loud?
Oh yeah, Marie is a little shaken.
Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. It will be okay. It's a safe space, I promise.
I gotta be honest.
And
I don't know.
bite my hand and I reach out.
Yeah, I maybe I just tell Albus, like, I don't know if I want this to work. If it works, it to me indicates that there's a little more risk of Sharp being susceptible to curiosity.
We don't have that
Yeah.
safety net.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The
But-
one person that can't be corrupted, we find out can be.
Dun, dun,
Scary.
dun. Can it work, Jason?
Well,
Okay, so
this is going to be different.
I can
Do we need
describe
like a high
wanna describe
arrow
it.
spray? We needed like a spray that goes into her suit.
I was gonna say, so if all you do is touch the outside of Marie's suit, you feel nothing.
Yeah.
There's no connection.
No, hold on. I
Wow,
want to
okay.
describe what I do.
Okay.
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 Reach
All right,
inside her
I
head.
bite my hand. I reach my hand out. I grab her hand, but instead of just the blood sinking into the hand, it goes through the fibers of the suit, and it sinks through the cloth and it melds with the gases which control your body instead, and sort of just goes through the vents of the suit. And when you feel that go inside, you actually can suddenly feel a bit more than you could before.
Oh.
Because you are an anchor at your dead. You don't have any physical sensation. But the blood, when it binds to you, you suddenly feel more aware. You feel, maybe for the first time, in the longest time, a touch of sensation. And Jason?
Well, I'm going to ask you to make a roll, Miss Kestrel.
Oh, my mistake. Let's just roll doubles on 10.
But
Sorry, I'm
Sharp, I'd also like you to make a roll
Okay.
to see if you can assist her with her roll.
Nice.
Ooh, okie dokie.
So this one's going to be a tough roll.
Do you want it?
So I rolled a 6 and a 5.
What did you want it
Okay.
to be? I'm sorry, Jason.
Do willpower and insight.
Sharp.
A persuade or interrogate would do it for you.
I just like to do manual. Because I'm.
Okay, that works too.
Ooh.
Did I do it?
Nice.
A
do
6 and a 7.
Yay.
Yes.
very
Well,
well.
beating 10 adds a 2, adds +2, which brings the total to 13,
Mhm.
which is good. That's a high DC. And yes, that feeling, as it was spreading through your body, it's almost this feeling of vitality. It's an echo of life that you have not felt in many, many years. But as much as it begins to sort of spread through you, you can begin to feel it seep away.
Mhm.
The ventilation, all the systems, it begins to sort of just filter and process any of the blood that's within you, basically doing its job. However, you try to reach out mentally with the part of you that exists as a soul, the ectoplasm and everything, and you try to hold on to it and reach out to Kestrel. And in a moment that feels both very long and instantaneous, you find yourself standing inside a forest of flesh and bone, with trees that look impossible and all of these things. And there is, as you look and you see Kestrel holding your hand, you can see that you look alive. You look as you would have in life here in this place. And you are wearing whatever it was that you were wearing when you died.
Oh,
Um,
jeez.
Lab coat.
Scrubs.
How did
And
Kestrel react to seeing real life Sharp?
My eyes go wide, and I look up at her and I say, "You look so pretty and alive."
You can say I'm old. It's fine.
No, you don't look old because technically
you don't look
Yeah,
old.
you don't
You
look
look
old,
as you
yo.
look exactly.
Well, maybe I
you're
died
not
when I was
aged.
old. I don't remember.
Well,
I think you died in like your 30s,
Yeah,
if that.
yeah.
Not even. Yeah.
That's
you
old
look
for
so
some people.
human.
What she just said? You look pretty. What do you say?
You look pretty and alive. Yeah.
Sharp is just like takes like a moment of like, you know, just like a breath of like, holy shit. I haven't like
Mhm.
felt this way. She hasn't like, she honestly like
my
starts
God.
crying, like I'm
Aw.
just like
She's going to become a blood junkie.
yeah.
Can I reach out and try to give her a hug? And,
Yeah.
and she can feel my feelings, right? So
Yeah.
I've tried to give her that, that sort of reassurance that I've given everybody else, and a touch of like, like I'm excited for her that she's having this moment.
Yeah.
I'm happy for her that she gets to feel again for the first time in a while.
Yeah, and it's certainly an interesting sensation because by the time that you guys sort of pull away and the sort of moment ceases to exist, the memory of what it felt like to receive that hug, to touch Kestrel in person is still there.
Yeah.
Even though
Nice.
as you sort of come out of that moment, you don't feel her at all as you're holding her.
Yeah.
You know, there's this almost weird divide where it's like you don't feel anything, but you remember what it felt like to feel it. So
What was your base emotion in that world?
Well, I was about to ask what was the base emotion, and I was going to say it might just be, oh my god, what
Holy
is all
shit.
this?
Yeah.
But if there's
Joy.
another one you want to communicate,
Well, what I was kind of thinking of, like, obviously initially, like, betrayal, obviously with, like, the whole husband stuff, but now with this, like, vitality and, like, rejuvenation of feeling like life again, like, I feel like there's a tinge of, like, hope and, like, almost energy, or, like, being energized, if that's a feeling. I don't know. Does that?
Yeah.
That's kind of what was coming through my head when I was thinking. Oh,
yeah.
cool. Very cool.
Still attempt to wipe the tears away. Even though
Yeah, I like come back and I my hand probably would like go to the
Touch
mask and it would just.
yeah. There's just a little spectral tear coming down.
Oh my god.
no.
That's
Not
so
spooky
fucking
tears.
sad. Yeah, but Sharp needed that. So
Aw.
she would
Good.
totally be so grateful for testing that and just
Another hit.
yeah.
Want another
Can,
hit?
can we do this
I
again
got
tomorrow,
you right
please?
here. Yeah. So I got a question though. Does the bond linger? Do I feel her like afterwards, or is it completely gone?
Yeah.
There is a lingering amount of it. I will say I don't believe it had ever come up before, but previously, I mean, kind of thankfully it hasn't shown up. Kestrel would never have been able to heal or cleanse or use any of her magic upon you, Sharp. She can now.
Oh, cool.
So,
Wow, what a boon.
I can
If
heal you
that-
now.
yes. So,
Very cool.
that is the thing that can happen. I suppose if you want any lingering cosmetics, I'll leave it up to you, the player. For example, you could have your yellow be tinged a bit more orange, as there's probably a little bit of blood left in there, but that's up to you entirely if you would rather have that or not. So,
Orange is
Yellow.
the worst color.
Oh no.
Oh,
No, I'm
Yellow
just
it
kidding.
is.
Orange is
Yellow
fine,
it is.
but we'll keep it at yellow.
what about blood red?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, but
That'd
I
be
like
cool,
yellow.
But yeah.
Okay, yellow it is.
Well, I guess. So Steve would say, Roz, it's up to you. I won't make your decision for you, but I certainly recommend it.
And if Kestrel tries to reach out to her, she pulls her hands away. And they're shaking, whether that's anger or panic or somewhere in between. You don't know.
I do hold my hands out and I ask her, "What's wrong? Why don't you trust me?"
It's not that I don't trust you. It's that I don't trust myself. Or maybe it would be better to say, I don't know if I trust my sister anymore. I don't know if I met a more curious person than Neravine. Curious about damn near everything. Insatiable appetite for reading, for going out, seeing the world. She never told me a lot about what she was doing. I think she was trying to keep me safe, but every now and then she would talk about it vaguely. She was making deals with the gods. So she even maybe had the pious thing going for her. So in light of what I've found out over the past few hours, I think I've had my fill of the supernatural for the day. It's nothing to do with you, Kestrel. You are kind and caring, and I can't imagine what you've been through before now. And I promise you, sweetie, I don't mean this in a bad way. It didn't help Myru. And I don't know that I'm super keen on others feeling what I feel right now.
Okay. That's your decision. Yeah, I just want to help you. But I can't help you if you don't want me to, so that's up to you.
I understand, and I appreciate it. I'll let you know if I change my mind.
I might tell Kestrel quietly, like, I might pat her on the shoulder and just be like, give her a little bit of time. It's been a day.
We'll get her when she's sleeping.
Oh, jeez.
And then she won't be able to choose. I'll hold her down. You fill her with blood.
Oh, God.
No.
No, consent hasn't meant a whole lot to me
Yeah.
so far, but I'm not gonna deliberately break somebody's boundaries.
No, but I would tell her, just we'll give her a little bit of space. She'll come around. She knows you mean well.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.